Hey guys, Mr. Danner here. Today's video is going to be very short, or I'm going to try for that. It's just continuing very similar thinking to what we've been doing in class. So I just want to go over kind of what the sources are and give you an idea of what the work could look like. So if you remember, we've been looking at the idea of authority and just, why and how people have the ability to essentially, control and make rules and have people follow them and listen to them. Um, and we've been using the scope of looking at the police in our country as the way to look at authority. So we looked at the origins of the police, um, the history of the police, and just kind of like we looked at the police from in the 1900s, and now we're going to look at the police in the 21st century. So in the last 20 years. That's what this lesson is going to be about. So it's going to be very similar. There's a Google slide with all of your sources and a Google Doc that has your guiding questions. So today's question is, how has the role of policing evolved in the 21st century? Evolved means just changed. How has it changed and grown? And the 21st century means in the 2000s. So from the year 2000 up until now, we're in the 21st century. And again, we're going with this idea of what does good authority look like? So you're going to look at just the role the police have played and the authority they have in our country, and determine what good authority can look like. So what we're looking at it this time is this background of during President Obama's term, he created a task force, just a group of people whose job was to strengthen community policing and trust between the police and the communities they serve. So they came up with 6 goals they believe to be the biggest concerns. And so we're going to focus on those 6 goals today. And so you see your graphic organizer here has every goal and just a guiding question based on the sources, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the goals are building trust and legitimacy. Again, trust between the police and the community that they serve. So just the police and the citizens. And legitimacy, that just means making sure people understand that they, how they have the authority they have, and like that they get that authority just based on that trust, right? Policy and oversight. So that's just rules that police have to follow and how they, who they're accountable to. Social media and technology, because again, the role of the police has been shaped by, especially in the last 5 to 10 years, by social media and communication. Goal 4 is community policing and crime reduction. So that's just like the police within the different neighborhoods and communities and like what they're doing to reduce crime. And that doesn't mean just arresting people, right? How are they preventing crime from happening in the first place? Goal 5 is just training and education, and how police nowadays are, when you're a new recruit all the way up to the time that you're out on the streets, how are you trained? How are you educated as a police officer? And goal 6 is looking at officer safety and wellness. So how are officers taken care of to make sure, because it's a hard job, how do police officers, like how do they get taken care of, and how what's put in place to make sure that the job doesn't overstress them to the point where they're making bad decisions. And obviously that's been successful or unsuccessful depending on how you look. So that's just the 6 goals, and you'll see these sources, and it's usually quotes and graphs and charts. And so you're just going to go goal 1, building trust and legitimacy. Like this, people are more likely to obey the law when they believe that those who are enforcing it, the police, have legitimate authority to tell them what to do. So when they really think that the police have the right to tell them what to do, the public gives legitimacy only on those they believe are acting in procedurally just ways. So the public here, you can just say gives legitimacy, gives the right to authority to those they believe are acting in procedurally just. That means that they're following their rules and following the procedures, the things that they have to do. And that what they're doing is just, meaning that it's fair. And so this is just a graph that shows like people's level of confidence in the police. Are they doing a good job? So, it's hovered around that like 50-50. Half the people do, half don't. So depending on the year, um, it's gone up and it's gone down. You can see in the last couple of years it started to decline downward. And accountability, again, like the idea of good cop, bad cop. How much confidence do you have in police officers in your community to do a good job? Everything in red means that people are confident. Everything in yellow means they're not. Um, and it's talks about different, just based on different races. You can see that, white people tend to think that the police are much more fair than non-white people. So here we see the goal is to build trust. Because people are less likely to follow authority if they do not trust them. Do you believe this? So for me, I'd be like, yes, I absolutely believe that people are more likely to follow people that they trust. Even like with teachers, you tend to see that the teachers that you trust that the teachers who you believe have your best interests at heart, you're going to do the work for them. You're gonna show up more. You're gonna be more active in their class if you trust them. And it's much harder to build trust in these settings. But anyway, do you believe this is true? Why or why not? And then after looking at the two charts, why do you believe there's a decline in trust in the police? So this is showing that there is a decline, and I'll give you a hint. It probably has to do with just racial issues, right? Because you can see that white people trust the police much more than non-white people. So why do you think there has been a decline in trust in the police? And so it just goes through all 6 goals: policy and oversight, and policy changes. What is policy and oversight, and like what changes were made? Technology and social media, and again, just like kind of like what does that look like? So you're just going through all of these goals and looking at the sources, and then there's just a guiding question for each one. So that's pretty much it. There's nothing at the end, but we're just looking at how the role of the police has changed because President Obama made police reform or police change a big part of his policies. So that's all I have for examples here. I'm not going to go through each one of these specifically, but I'll always be in class, to help out. So that's all I've got for now. I will see everyone in class. Bye.